Professor Robert Barrett continues to find time between class to produce thousands of works of art. I visited his home studio to look at some pieces and talk about his impressive resume. This is Professor Robert Barrett. He teaches illustration in the visual arts department at BYU. He invited us into his home studio where he does most of his work.
You don't get interrupted constantly.
In this quiet setting, Professor Barrett creates some of the best and most recognizable work in illustration. You may not realize it, but whether you remember the LDS Church or not, you've probably seen a lot of Robert Barrett's work. He says his passion for art came from his parents. His mother would keep her paintings in the closets at their home.
Growing up, you'd open the closet and her oil sets were in there. You could smell the oil paint coming out, so it was kind of mystic.
Those small beginnings set the stage for almost 10,000 pieces of art. He paints regularly for LDS church magazines and art magazines. He published his own art books. He's painted many prophets and pioneers. And he's painted many presidents and first ladies. Like this piece, done for a children's book about Michelle Obama.
I mean, you look around at the artwork that Bob Barrett produces. I mean, he's a workaholic and he's prolific.
Professor Barrett is used to painting Old Testament prophets like Noah and Adam, so when he gets to paint a prophet that's still living, it's quite a treat, especially when he gets to meet them.
So I came home to my wife. She didn't know that I was going to see the prophet, and I said, shake that hand, shake this hand. Before I wash it, shake this hand.
He recently painted the portrait of President Thomas S. Monson. President Monson called Professor Barrett into his office to meet and take a look at the piece. And Professor Barrett got a first-hand experience with President Monson's famous sense of humor.
So he's sort of looking at his secretary, but kind of winking at me, and he said, "Oh, I like that. I think he looks like a generous, compassionate, outstanding individual. Don't you think so?"
Even with thousands of pieces, all just as well received as this one, you get a sense that Barrett's proudest achievements don't sit in these drawers.
Students make us look good, right? You know, they keep winning recognitions and awards. So.
And for his students, those feelings seem to be mutual.
He takes such a holistic approach. He applies the gospel, he applies scholarly material, he applies so many different things.
His artwork precedes him. People may not know his name, they may not recognize him in public, but chances are members of the church have seen his artwork many times. And so you think of the mark he's left in that regard, but then you also look at the students that he and the other faculty have produced and cultivated and trained and equipped. I mean, that's an influence that arguably is even greater, that will last for generations.
Professor Barrett continues to work on projects, including these drawings for a World War II children's book he's excited about. And he says he doesn't plan to lose that passion for art that started when he was a boy anytime soon. Jeff Merrill, BYU Weekly.